Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Supply Me Capital PLC business overview presentation. My apologies for the slight delay in starting this afternoon. Throughout this recorded presentation, investors will be in listen-only mode. Questions are encouraged, can be submitted at any time using the Q&A tab on the right-hand side of your screen. Just type in your questions and press send. The company may not be in a position to answer every question it receives during today's meeting, given the significant attendance on today's call. However, the company can review all questions and we'll publish anything that needs to be done so via the Investor Meet Company platform. Before we begin, we'd like to submit the following poll. And if you could give that your kind attention, I'm sure the company will be most grateful. And I'd now like to hand over to CEO Alessandro Zamboni. Good afternoon. Alessandro, if I could just interrupt, could I please ask you just to reconnect using your mobile phone, please, if you could, because we've lost connection with you. So leave the room. Yeah, you'll see in the invitation there is a dial-in number. I'd be grateful. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, do please bear with me. There was just a slight audio connection. We'll get started momentarily. Please do bear with us just for a couple of moments. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as I say, just do bear with us. We're just waiting for Alessandro to rejoin, and then we'll continue with the presentation. Thank you very much indeed for your patience. Alessandro, can you hear us?
Yes, well.
Just bear with me 1 second, sir. Alessandro, please go ahead. You are now live. I will bring up the other presenters as well. So please carry on if you wouldn't mind starting from the current slide. Thank you.
Perfect. So thank you and apologize for this issue of connection. I think that now you can hear me very, very well, hopefully. So today, as we want to present, as we said, a brief recap of the business model of the company, our trajectory, and we are taking occasion to reply to questions and that shareholders raised recently through the platform, and also to allow the shareholders to hear from the chairman, the management team, what the group is going to do, and the progress that we made, also leveraging the recent announcements. We can start with the first block of Supplemì, that is very important, and then to have the opportunity to explain what the company did in the last years and what is our present and what we are going to deliver and what we are going to do in the near future, and also through our long-term vision. Basically, the company, as we know, started its venture on reverse takeover in March 2020, and during COVID, the peak of COVID, and the company started to work on presenting the business model to the market, the capital markets, in particular, the business model, pitching the investment opportunity to the investors regarding the inventory monetization and inventory funders. And in 21, the company purchased also trade flow capital. That was very important as a milestone, because to test the model, also starting to discuss with asset managers, starting to promote this new asset class that is actually inventory monetization, and also starting to think about how to work with banks and financial services through a white label offering. So basically leveraging the technology. In the present today, shareholders, investors saw a lot of progress, in our opinion. In particular, last year, the company worked very hard to finalize a first basically enhancement of the governance through the appointment of a new chair, and also to selecting strategic partners that was important regarding our business. So VeChain Foundation was a strategic partner because it unlocked the funding to do the first inventory monetization, and also strategic partners on the capital side or PLC side. And the company entered into strategic basically agreement with Venus Capital that actually subscribed a first equity placing last year. This year, another important equity placing, and starts basically to work together with the company in order to support the business and the growth. Additionally, recently, the group announced a very important milestone regarding the first inventory monetization through the traditional funding route. That is crucial, very important and strategic for the company, because it's the original plan, and also is what the company now is progressing in order to deliver new transaction leveraging the traditional funding route. And finally, with the recent approval of the annual report, additional to Venus, we started to continue to work with the trusted parties, in particular with one of the major shareholders of Supplemì, the Avangard Group, that actually is the company of my company, and also the company that we used to found basically Supplemì in 2017. In the future, the 4 streams are basically very, very important for the group and for the board of directors, because the first one is a strong message for us to work through a multi-funding route strategy. So we do think that unlocking the business, the first inventory monetization transactions that are actually new asset classes, the group can work with multiple funding routes, and we will see a dedicated slide. The second one is to continue to invest in technology, because technology is one of the drivers to allow investors to invest in this new asset class, understanding the risks, monitoring the risks. The third one is the digital asset industry. We know that we are basically into a revolution where the digital assets, crypto and not crypto, are and will be part of our day-by-day journey, and digital assets for us is strategic. And the fourth is something related to the fact that monetizing inventory, the company is unique in the market, collecting unique data, and it's important for us, it's strategic to improve our inventory analytics capabilities, and then think about solutions to accelerate this milestone. The opportunity is clear. I think that the team made a great work, a great job regarding the description of the background. The background is, I think that is clear. Unfortunately, also seeing negative events like COVID, the war, but in general, the opportunity and the need and the must to have for supply chains to manage their operational resilience, and then accordingly to work into a new direction where the CFO is keen to fund the working capital, the non-cash working capital components, and so payables, inventory, that could be finished goods, could be raw materials, could be commodities, and also receivables. It's clear also from our side, because the market also observed our growth in the pipeline, gross pipeline, and also we have everyday indicators that the market, the companies, the corporates, not only in Italy, but in UK and other regions, are very keen to monetize the inventory, and also the interest of CFO to combine traditional financing with alternative commercial line. And the result is technically that we are observing, we think, an environment where banks are not technically ready to support this change, in our opinion, regarding the capabilities and tools and systems to manage the inventory as a class or complex structure. So in this slide, that is important, I think, also to allow shareholders or potential investors to appreciate our roadmap, that the key success factors in order to deliver a unique solutions, a unique selling proposition over the inventory are basically, as I was saying, the capabilities in order to improve the inventory analytics skills, the integration, the partnership with logistics, because when an investor starts to assess our investment opportunity, one of the first questions is how Supply.me is working with the logistics partners, how the warehouse is monitored or managed, and so the logistics also in the future will be crucial for us. Then the capabilities to manage controls remotely, physically, leveraging the ecosystem of partnership, and last but not least, the importance to have a legal and accounting framework that actually is underpinning our product. You know, the shareholders, also investors, asked and are asking the importance and the viability of the legal framework. So in order to allow the corporate to have a legal to sell, so a real to sell, and also the accounting view from both parties, the corporates and also the stock companies that we know that are the commercial vehicles that deliver transactions. Banks in this space are not competitors, in our opinion, are partners. We know, and the market knows, that we are working very hard with the white label alliances or self-funding alliances. That is better, where banks put the money into our platform for their clients. And so this creates also an important growth of our pipeline. And banks traditionally are, and now obviously are, it's very complex for a bank to deliver or to start a new product without Supply.me if the company and the bank in particular want to launch an inventory-based product that is not financing. This is the key word. So the banks are lenders, but the banks are not trading companies. And in order to do a off-balance sheet transactions, commercial transactions, banks need to partner with a fintech platform and trading business. That is what actually Supply.me is doing. Moving to the business model and trajectory, I leave the word to Nicola, because we start with these slides to try to go more in deep on the commercial side, the operations, and so it's important that our management team can present how we are doing, also the angles that we are now touching.
Thank you, Alessandro. So good morning, everybody. I'm Nicola Bonini, Head of Origination for Supply@Me Capital. Excuse me. As Alessandro previously mentioned, there's a huge demand for supply chain finance, and especially a growing requirement for SMEs and corporates to get value out of their inventory whilst it's held in their warehouse. The Supply@Me solution for customers allows trading businesses to sell their inventory to our independent stock companies rather than raising debt. It's a non-debt solution that helps them to retain or purchase and hold more inventory to manage their existing orders and their sales strategies. Inventory monetization helps improve their net financial position with no detrimental impact on key ratios such as leverage and interest cover, as it's simply not debt, and they're not taking that debt onto their balance sheet. It also means that there's no covenants or performance metrics that you would normally associate with traditional inventory financing. And it can sit alongside existing bank facilities. Supply@Me costs are 100% tax deductible and can be amortized as CapEx over the typical 3-year period. And while there's no obligation under the commercial agreements for client companies to sell their inventory, through the due diligence process, we're ensuring that the inventory is integral to their business. We do this by evidencing this through 24 months of ERP data and by analysing sales forecasts and contracts. Continuity in the customer's ability to buy back is integral to meet its customers' needs. Clients typically receive a higher value on day one against their inventory, 85 to 90%. And there's a remaining element paid as a deferred purchase price, which additionally incentivizes the client to buy back. In regard to the solution for funders, the platform allows us to access a multi-channel of funders, from direct funds and debt subscribers to debt financing and credit funds. There are no limitations since the restructuring of our relationship with TradeFo, which allows us a clear demarcation between the fund and fintech business. The stock companies are trading businesses. They have the ability to have their own rating and are established in each jurisdiction. They'll facilitate further IMs in addition to the 2 current transactions. And then we have a strategic focus initially on continued growth in Italy and the UK. Supply@Me acts as the inventory servicer and platform provider for the stock companies, providing inventory specialists to facilitate the origination of new client companies, self-funders, and as Alessandro mentioned, white label. This provides a scalable model for funders through further IM transactions, and also for banks and other financial institutions to access our technology and platform through our white label proposition. Thank you. Happy to hand over to Mark for the operations overview.
Thanks, Nicola. Hi, everybody. I've got 2 slides today, and what I'd like to talk through, first of all, is the architecture. And you can see this is our current architecture picture. We have some proprietary modules, highlighted with blue stars. But we generally have a few things at the forefront of our mind when we are thinking about the architecture on which we want to deploy our platform. The first one is we're looking for a universally deployable solution. So we chose Microsoft Azure as the basis for our architecture. There are other environments out there, but we felt that was the best placed for us to build that environment. The second thing at the forefront of our minds is that we must have a safe and secure environment to share, augment, optimize, and store our clients' data. Hopefully, we will have many clients in the future, and we have a large amount of data, and some of it is very sensitive. And so we need to make sure that the environment in which we store that data not only is safe and secure, but also has logical separation, so each client cannot see each other's data. As I've already highlighted on the slide, we have proprietary models that can integrate into our ecosystem, and I'll talk a bit more about a few of those on the next slide. We also have the mentality that where possible, we're going to utilize off-the-shelf modules to allow us to go a little bit faster than we have been. And you know, we noted in some of the questions that were submitted to us about the speed of delivery. So we are investigating off-the-shelf modules and deploying those where sensible to do so. One of the key things for me as the operations leader is to ensure that we have audit trails of activity, so that if there is ever a dispute over activity or data, that I can trace back, you know, exactly the root cause of any incident. Fingers crossed there will be no incidents, obviously. We also needed to be able to integrate into the blockchain and Web3 environments, so that we can give visibility to investors of how they've invested their money and what assets they currently have invested with us. So in short, from an architecture point of view, we're trying to build a base for automation and scalability. I'm a firm believer in automation, and some of my previous roles, I've excelled in that personally, I think. And to make it scalable, we want to be a very lean organization. And then the last thing is white label capabilities. So you'll see within the slide here, we almost have a Lego block mentality where when we're talking about white label capabilities, we can plug and play different modules with the bank's environments as well.
That's great. We're just waiting for Alessandro just to connect. Give us one moment, and
Sure.
He'll be with us literally logging in now.
I'll leave the slide on screen so people can read it anyway.
That's great. Thank you, Alessandro. Can you hear us, sir?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
Oh, no, this is me. Sorry, Mark.
Oh, I do apologize. Sorry.
That's no problem. Thanks.
Just one second. Alessandro just coming through now.
Yes. Can you hear us?
Yes, Alessandro, we can hear you. I'm just on my second slide, so I'll continue if that's okay. Yes. Great. Okay, thanks. So I thought on the next slide I would highlight two areas really that fall into my remit. One is the operational side and one is the technological side. On the operational side, there seems to be a bit of background noise. Sorry, Mark.
Go ahead, Mark. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. On the operational side, I can say in the almost 2 years that I've been here, we have made huge progress. I'm really happy with where we are from an operational point of view. We've stress tested all of our processes. We've included simulations of potentially fraudulent activity and including edge cases as well. So I'm really happy with where we are from a process point of view. We now have a standard suite of legal contracts in Italy. The UK suite of contracts is close to finalization. So again, I'm really happy with the legal frameworks that we have in place. And we're building a wealth of knowledge on various clients and industries. I think it's fair to say that each client is different, and so is their data. Is trying to understand their industry, their operational processes, their business processes, how they run their warehouses, and how that comes through in their data. And sometimes we spot anomalies and we challenge our clients on why the data doesn't bear out what they're saying on our questionnaires and interviews. But I should say that our data is very in-depth, and that is one of our USPs. We look at SKU level data, stock keeping unit level data. We have a very strong network of partners to support us where we need it in areas such as inspections, software developers, valuations, etc. And I firmly believe that we are becoming more robust and efficient as each week goes by. So speeding up shouldn't be an issue through the back end of this year. On the technological front, we are taking what we have and continually enhancing it through our roadmap. It's really important for ourselves and for Nicola's team in particular to drive the pipeline So this morning we have launched a register your interest website, which allows a potential client to register their interest, and that will come through and be picked up by the marketing and sales team. And we've also internally launched an onboarding module, which is a custom-built workflow that drives all of our processes and allows us to see the progress of each client and where some may be stalling. And it also allows us to look at all of the detailed processes that we have. We have a very detailed process for onboarding. That onboarding module is also easily tailorable to white label. It's a plug and play module. And I'm very excited about where we are at the moment with the data hub and analytics capabilities. Again, this is one of our USPs. So we ingest the data at SKU level and we really mine it and we look for anomalies. And that again is one of our USPs. One of the other things that we're working on is visibility to investors, showing them both current positions and historic positions where they require that. And again, as I've said, just finishing up, the granular level of data and the platform that we've built around our business model and that data is the differentiator as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you, Mark.
I hope that's answered many questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And I think we've now got Alessandra back on the call. Alessandra, can you hear us, please?
Yes.
Lovely. Go ahead, sir. The floor is yours. We're now on slide 15.
Great.
Alessandro, the floor is yours, sir.
Yes, I can't see the slides. My video, I had an issue with my video. Apologize, but
no problem, sir.
Can't see the slides.
We're on slide relating to the strategic trajectory.
Yeah. So actually, I'm leveraging what Mark and Nicola explained regarding the true sale and the commercial side of the companies, and also the very important piece of the operations that always now in the market, maybe the market is saying more or is interesting to the barriers why an inventory funders is not able or is going to assess better our model. But the operations actually are crucial, as Mark explained, because operations are the trust that an investor, an inventory funder started and is starting and basically are assessing this moment in order to also check if the company has really the resources to scale. The strategic trajectory, and so the slide of the platform revenue model actually is what we already explained in our annual report, but it's important in our opinion to present again, because now the market is I think that the inventory monetization model can work through digital route, so the token, and also the traditional funding route. And the market, as the company explained in the business update of early January, is expecting the cooperation of the platform with the banks. In particular, the company said about the white label, and we do think that it's important to explain better the different approach of where the company can generate revenue. Firstly, the captive inventory monetization, as we know, is very important because this is our core. So we do want that corporate can unlock capital from their inventory through traditional funding route, through partnership with banks, special deals, securitization, bond issuance like we did recently in the recent announcement, and the token route as we are doing with the VeChain. This is a monetization, so it's off balance sheet space, to be very clear. And in this model, we know that the combination of components are Supplement Capital and its platform through Supplement Technologies, the role of the subsidiaries of Supplement through the due diligence and the monitoring, and a crucial role of the stock companies, the box in black, that basically are the commercial trading companies that enter into a commercial agreement with the corporates that want to monetize the inventory. And this is very interesting as a model because it's a multi-revenue model for us. We can charge due diligence, we can charge the origination fee when the client is signed basically the binding agreement with the stock company, and the Supplement group, so the technologies and the subsidiaries charge fees vis-a-vis the stock company as basically support, so platform and professional services. On the other hand, the white label is a way, as we explained, where basically the company can leverage the value of the platform, and the banks, typically commercial banks, can deliver an inventory financing product. In this space, in this moment, the company is working from both sides. It's working with banks for the monetization. So it's what we name self-funding. So a bank wants to use our infrastructure, so system, people, and legal framework to deliver an inventory monetization product vis-a-vis their clients. It's what the company is progressing. And also banks that want to just use the technology to deliver financing to their clients. We are in a good position for both sides, together with the other funding routes that we announced. Moving to the slide 18, so the slide of the competition, basically, or competitive analysis. This is very important because technically, exactly this slide, technically, what we are observing are new entrants in this market. We are seeing new competitors. I know that the market is seeing Taulia, is seeing SAP, the merge, that the acquisition that SAP made, Apollo Eliant for the US market, but also in the recent discussions with the market opportunities, we saw also two new names. One is Benteler Trading, the second one is Procura. But at the end of the day, all these competitors, if you want to name these competitors, are delivering, in our opinion, financing. So it's financing for receivables, it's financing for payables, it's financing also as a product financing arrangement. So technically, vehicles that buy from suppliers and then allow the buyer to draw down inventory, but with an obligation at the end of the day to buy the inventory. So it's a financial liability. This is our rigid interpretation of these type of products. And what we can say is that Supplement is continuing to propose a unique product. I can share recent example where there are very important corporates that basically said that this type of product financing arrangement of similar, are too complex. I don't want as a corporate that allow you as a trading business to enter in contact with my suppliers, to be onboarded by my suppliers, because it's complex. Or there are commercial information that me as a corporate, I don't want to share. The same reverse factoring of similar supply chain financing are complex. And also recently we saw also other issues in reverse factoring, deals. At the end of the day, what we are offering, I can continue to say that after 3 years, we are still in a unique position as a unique selling proposition of warehoused goods monetization. That is something that the market is not offering. Also, the recent announcement of local banks in Italy, for instance, and platforms that are using blockchain are just financing. So are not, is nothing to be compared that we can compare with what we are doing, because basically this type of software vendors, this type of commercial banks are just try to pass a maybe fancy message to the market that are using blockchain, but actually at the end of the day is financing vis-a-vis clients, not what Supplement is doing. Supplement is continuing to use technology for our product, operations for our product, and continue to have a very important competitive market advantage in this space. We can move the next slide, please. Albert, if you want to cover this important space that is for us crucial, please.
Sure, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Albert Ganushan, and I'm a non-executive chair of the company. So I think maybe it's an opportunity for me also to step back a little bit and just, say a few words from myself by way of introduction, somewhat deviating a little bit from the script. So for those who follow the company for a while, you would have noticed that the way we have been updating the market over the last 12 months has been evolving. We have been more measured, with a greater focus on communicating proven results and achievements, and the clarity of our strategic thinking. So this obviously extends to the approach to today's event, which is taking place earlier than last year, is in a different format, separate from the AGM. So my view is this is part of growing up as a company, and I hope that we can bring you more important updates, concrete results and announcements more frequently going forward. For me, Supply@Me Capital is a genuinely innovative fintech business answering the real market need with the right solution. And as a result, Supply@Me is pursuing a business opportunity of significance, if I can put it this way. So having joined the board almost 12 months ago at the last AGM, my main focus has been on supporting and challenging the management team to enable, frankly, them to realize the promise and to deliver on this amazing opportunity. So within that, this included identifying and focusing on key priorities. One, honing our strategy. And this includes, among other things, approach to corporate origination, funding of transactions, and the development of the white label proposition. Two, unwavering focus on securing the proof of concept and the concerted effort to build the requisite track record. Three, ensuring the company has adequate funding and continuing to work to reduce the cost of such funding to the existing shareholders. And finally, 4, managing the expectations of various stakeholders, not least you, the shareholders. Of course, we'd like to see faster progress going towards our goals, but there are good reasons to be optimistic. So in line with this measured approach, please understand there's a limit to what we can say today and how specific we can get. But I hope you find this session useful. Now, more specifically, in terms of capital markets kind of trajectory and the things that we have been working on and the things we look forward to. As you know, the company recently announced the move from SETSQX, which is a quote-driven system, to SETS, which is an electronic order book system on LSE. This is the highest level trading platform available on the stock exchange. We did this with the view of bringing more efficiency, transparency, perhaps liquidity to the trading in our shares. The CEO is in dialogue also with a number of UK institutional brokers with the view of identifying the right party that can support the company in the next stage of development of its capital market strategy. So what is the obvious next stage of the development of our capital market strategy? Well, one, potential improvements in scale and scope of the investor outreach and broader IR and PR activities. So putting ourselves in the position to really attract other new significant investors in the company, including institutional investors. 2, we would obviously like the company to be at the appropriate moment and as soon as possible to be covered by institutional equity research. Part of that clearly will be some kind of dissemination or dissemination of some kind of revenue guidance. And as soon as we are in the position to move on these points, I hope we will do so effectively. And finally, I guess it is important to have this kind of partner in place to consider potential corporate actions that can help us grow shareholder value, including share consolidation or reverse split. And there are some other ideas in the pot that we consider. Obviously, we have good views on this, and to implement them really effectively and in a way that kind of moves the needle for the shareholders, it's important to have all the components in place. So I hope this gives you a good feel for what we've been doing. And just to go back to the point about the changed format for this year, this meeting obviously will be followed by the notice of the AGM, which, unlike last year, is designed for voting only on the resolutions proposed and not for investor updates on the business as such. Just be aware we're kind of trying a different approach. And so with this, I think that is my part done. Alessandro, back to you.
Thank you, Albert. And I think that we can use this last slide just to recap and what we presented today, and also what we collected as a Q&A basically in the last days through the process that we manage after the announcement of this moment, this event. So actually, the first point, also in the perception, in the perspective of the investors, when you assess the scalability of an initiative, also to decide to invest or to remain invested, or to see basically the success of a business, the first point is to assess the target addressable market. And the first takeaway is that for us is always was a stable point, a standard, and also a must, is that the market, despite a new entrant, continues to be huge, to continue to be very, the appetite for inventory program continue to be material for us, but also for other competitors or other companies that are struggling to do something in this space. And the fact that we invested years in this area in terms of legal framework, capabilities, systems, this is a core value in terms of understanding what Supply.me is doing and understanding our roadmap and our direction. And the interesting point is that this is true for multiple regions. So it's a scalability regarding the type of asset, but it's also a scalability angle regarding the regions where Europe, UK, US, obviously, the Middle East are regions where maybe with some differences, but at the end of the day, there are supply chains, in the same region or cross-border that have to manage day's inventory problem. So assessing our initiative from the perspective of a shareholder, of a potential investor, first point, so target addressable market, in our opinion, we continue to be very attractive in terms of what we are doing and what we do in the future. The second point are the competition. And as I was saying, yes, it is true that there are competitors. I like a lot when shareholders wrote me and ask if maybe this one is a competitor, this one is a risk for us. This is great to have this sort of engagement with the shareholders. And we do think that our space is complex, and basically we created a sort of barrier, for new entrants in the space of warehouse good monetization. That is totally different respect of inventory programs, as I was saying, product financing arrangement or reverse factoring, because maybe at the end of the day are good support, but what we are doing is really unique. Why is unique? It's unique because after 7 years, basically, we are continuing to invest in understanding the needs of the client. Earlier, I was explaining the example of complexity. That is something that Mark and Nicola, when we work with our corporates, that we are trying to analyze, to assess in order to think about the processes that are better in the perspective of a corporate, because for us the mission is to help corporates, but also to deliver a scalable model. So it's for us crucial to think about how to design better processes in order to deliver our product. And the fact to become the game changer is not just a marketing spot or payoff, but I can ensure that when we discuss with inventory funders that we know that are for us important to have fuel for our platform and to deliver transactions, really we are hearing from these funders that actually, yes, maybe they are discussing with other potential solutions in the market, but when they start to discuss with us, really they are understanding that what we are offering is very, very helpful for their clients. When I'm referring with clients, with the funders, I'm referring to banks in particular, or debt funds, debt providers. But when we speak with banks, we can appreciate that the banks or the bank is very, very starting to understand the importance of an inventory solution for the client, because the receivables are important, but the inventory in this moment and also in the future is really, really crucial for their clients, also to decide to continue to work with this bank, or to decide to work with another bank, or to decide to work through alternative debt industry. So, I think that in this moment, banks are considering us a tool, also to continue to get traction for their existing clients. So, white label or self-funding, I hope you are understanding the difference of white label, just technology, self-funding, technology, and also monetization for the clients of the banks are for us very important to scale our pipeline, to generate revenue, and also to support the activities on capital markets that Albert was explaining. So long story short, we think that in the perspective of an investor, Supply.me is continuing to be an interest business, an equity story, because we are solving also an issue on a real economy. That there are also ESG drivers in deciding on investing side, and the operational resilience or business resiliency of a company is one of the multiple goals of an ESG strategy. So in the perception of the investor, we can be considered a tool to improve ESG goals in the real economy in supply chains, in my opinion. The company completed the equity placing, completed the funding in occasion of the annual report. So we can say that we are in a situation that are now fully funded, and so
we are keen to deliver our pipeline. So this is an important also angle in the perception of the investor side. And we are, as the investors, shareholders, are understanding in a new stage of our life cycle, because we improved our governance thanks to the leadership of Albert. We are improving our communication approach, also trying to work with capital markets, and also with the goal of an updated revenue guidance in order to start a typical growth, also using these important pillars of the strategy of the company. And also the quality of the team. The quality of the team, so the management team, Nicola, Mark, Stuart, Amy, Alice. So these first, level of managers, senior managers, that actually are working very hard every day. Maybe behind the scene, the shareholders are not seeing what a lot of task activities we are doing, and I can really say that the management team and also the expertise that are bringing is very important. To manage bad moments, maybe like in the past, good moments like maybe now, that we are all excited of what we are doing, and also creating the basis for the future and for a very important group that we are basically doing something that really is unique in the market, and hopefully we remain in the history of working capital solutions as a very pioneers of this inventory unique product. So I have to say thank you for the attendees, for Albert. Sorry, I for my issues in hardware initially, and so I not gave the right value of the first slide, Albert. So apologize, and thank you also for the management team that is attending.
That's great, Alessandro. Thank you once again, and once again, apologies to everybody for the slight audio connections this afternoon. Of course, to investors like Matthew, Mark, Michael, obviously all these questions we'll supply back to the company, and we'll publish any responses on the Investor Meet Company platform. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time this afternoon. If I could please ask you not to close this session, as we'll now automatically redirect you for the opportunity to provide your feedback in order that the management team can better understand your views and expectations. This will only take a few moments to complete, but I'm sure will be greatly valued by the company. Good afternoon to you all.
Thanks, everybody.